Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the fourth match of a best of 5 IEM World Championship Season 5 series between EGIdrA and Squirtle. Please, if you have not checked out any of the other games, do check them out. This series has been quite epic, though, if you see that this is a Game 5. It's gone 2-2 so far. Two of these players, of course, Squirtle is Korean and EGIdrA American, but two of these players just really duking it out. Game 1 was a macro game that EGIdrA was able to win, defeating Squirtle's fast Stargate, in addition to Colossi. And then games 2 and 3 both went to Squirtle with a fast Stargate play with the Void Ray. Well, in game 2 it was the Void Ray and Phoenixes, and then in game 3 it was just 3 Void Rays, I believe. And game 4 then went to EGIdrA as well. That was more of a macro game, and it ultimately came down to the lack of, in my opinion, the lack of a Twilight Council from Squirtle and EGIdRA's production power, because he lost the battle marginally, just as some Stalkers and Zealots were left after the main battle was fought. But then EGIdrA just had the kind of capability to make 17 Hydras and something like 32 Zerglings. It's funny because I actually think those numbers are right on. I watched the video recently, but he was just able to produce a lot more than his opponent in the clinching moment of the battle. So now, as we do delve into our game, Squirtle has already gotten the fast pylon at his natural ramp. I don't know if he is going to have the Forge here, so I don't know if he's going to go for the Forge fast expand. I actually today played a game on Shakura's Plateau. I believe it was a PvZ that I did lose, but it was with the Forge fast expand. I've been losing to so many mutas in PvZ. Well, not so many. I put 2 games that I lost today to that. But I just think I need to invest in the double Stargate as opposed to single Stargate and just go Phoenix Stalker, because both players invested in so many mutas that if I was able to deny with the double Stargate as opposed to just one, I think it would be a lot more beneficial, because I have been opting in more so for the 3-gate Robo in every matchup, which I do find works very well, but because the Observer Scout, especially for each matchup. But then, after I get that Observer Scout, if I see the Spire, I should theoretically switch to Stargates. I got 1 in these 2 games, but I should be switching to at least 2 now, I think. And that was my theory, really. I should switch to 2 Stargates, and then produce Stalkers until the Stargates finish, and then start producing Phoenixes. Only Stalkers, though. Cease Robotics Facility production, unless they're going for like a Roach Ling Muta, or something like Baneling Muta, which is pretty crazy, but could work well. And so, yeah, if you have any opinions on how you play PvZ and how you think I should play it, please do let me know. It's been my worst matchup for a while. I've gotten a lot better at it, though. I can counter Roaches well with that 3-gate Robo play, and I have a strong macro ability with executing that strategy. But if you have any suggestions, I'm always open. I did win a nice PvP using a neat tactic. I went for a Warp Prism drop. My opponent I didn't have any Colossi, my opponent did, but I was pushing. I had more Zealots, equal Stalkers, equal Immortals, and he had 1 Colossus with a 2nd finishing. And then I won because I was pushing on him. This was on Metalopolis, but I was pushing. We were fighting on this main ramp, and then his Colossus was right here. I got the Warp Prism phasing mode. He didn't have the time to focus it down. Got 4 Zealots and 1. But now, out of my personal life, let's get into our game. We have had this Forge fast expand, and no sort of Ling pressure from EGIdrA, because he knows he cannot breach the Forge wall. He is now again getting his hatch in the early 20s population. He's been doing that mostly throughout this series. And then, well, as we know, it's gone 2-2, so I'm not exactly going to say it went badly for him. A little bit of a blunder, I guess I would argue, here from Squirtle with the Scout carrying minerals. I'm compulsive about that, and sometimes I miss timings, because I'll be trying to get my gateway or pylon exactly on 150 minerals, and that may, if the Scout is just coming, well, the probe I'm using to build him is just coming back, and he is not able to put it in time, I sometimes miss my timings because I wait for him to put it back. Anyway, we have had Roach Tech from EGIdrA, and a Stargate again from Squirtle, so he's going back to what has worked well for him. In the last game, he did go for the early hallucinations, of which I am a fan, but then eventually did opt for a Stargate. So he had hallucinated Void Rays, and then he got real Void Rays to deal with Corruptors, I believe, that would take down his Colossi. The Corruptors were still able to take down his Colossi, but nonetheless, a interesting strategy for him to go Stargate in every PvZ he plays on Squirtle's part. He is only now getting the 2nd cannon, so I don't think he actually has too much to deal with this handful of Roaches and Lings, but I think if this one here can finish, he will be okay. Here come the Roaches. There will be the single cannon there. I don't know if that's going to be enough to force EGIdrA out. I think the 2nd cannon will be in a nicely placed force field. Should be enough to ward this off. See, this is really professional PvZ Forge play, where you just you well-positioned photons. You know, if you're in one of the lower leagues like I am, in bronze, positioning may not be as proficient, and your opponent may be able to pick off your wall. I mean, EGIdRA's kind of doing that right now. This cannons cannot hit his units, but still, it was nice how he initially fended off, and now there will be this Void Ray, but the Cybernetics Core might go down, and it does. So EGIdRA is able to knock off the potential Warp Gate tech. So even though there's a plethora of cannons here, they're all powered by one pylon, and all of a sudden the door's wide open, and the build has been revealed. So as I was just kind of arguing before, really the positioning of the cannons, I even would argue that Squirtle's hasn't been the best. You always want to find a little niche, something like here, and then here. I don't think it would fit, but here, 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 just where it can hit the ramp and cover enough of the ramp, because this right here is only going to really reach to about there, which is not going to deal. As we saw initially, it was a nice placement initially, because then EGIdRA was able to get up, and he was kind of trapped by the force. His wings couldn't do much from the force field, but then he realized, hey, I can just go back, pick off this Cybernetic Core, which has been oh so crucial in this game. But now Squirtle is going to transition into this robotics tech, and don't forget that he does have the expansion, so that could play in his favor. And if EGIdRA overreacts with some serious muta or Hydra play, and Squirtle's able to tech up to Colossi fast enough, that could be advantageous to him. So there is a Phoenix now here, probably just going to go picking off some Overlords if he can, but Overlords are quite durable. See, he had 2 hits there, and it only did 19 damage, so that versus light damage 5 versus light 10. So Overlords are not light, as you might know. So they're a lot more susceptible to Void Rays than they are to Phoenixes. Now let's just follow this guy as he ventures about the map. I love Phoenix's speed, and they're so very effective against mutas, especially with that Annie and Pulse Crystals upgrade. But as I said before, my PvZ, I just need to invest in them way more. So now Squirtle finally going to go to pick off this Overlord. It has been sitting there for ages, and there's another one nicely placed here, just going to be seeing the edge of his opponent's base. So nothing special, just the assimilators, knows most of the details of the wall. And as I predicted, as one of my predictive options, there is indeed the Hydra tech now just about to finish right here at the natural area. And this Void Ray, how many? He's gotten 5 kills actually. Maybe even going. I don't know if he went for some drones. I was paying more attention to the Overlord and general strategy. But this Void Ray has done some serious damage. And there is the fast robotics bay now from Squirtle, so he is not out of this game. He's only really gotten the 1 Void Ray, 1 Phoenix, which is smart. And he's forced his opponent into that overinvestment into Hydra tech. So I think if Squirtle's to have a chance in this game, despite that loss of the Cybernetics Core, which really delayed his Warp Gate tech, he can have he has an even shot at this game if he gets the robotics bay out fast enough with extended thermal lances. That would deal so much damage to the Hydralisks even with their Groove Spines upgrade. I believe that they are still outranged by Colossi. So then I think EGIdRA's really overreacted to the Phoenix Void Ray. Void Ray has 6 kills now, so now these speed wings just going to be fended off. But that's smart. I don't know if this was an intended mind game by Squirtle or if he was just adapting to the lost Cybernetics Core, but that's extremely bright of him to just re-establish the transition out of his actual play. And I did not know that there were these destructible rocks here. This must be a fairly old version of Shakura's Plateau, because they do not, to my knowledge, exist in today's game. Of course, this is from a year ago, so I don't think these actual naturals, well, these potential third expands exist, because I played a recent game on Shakura's Plateau, and to my knowledge, there has not been very much. There are no bases like this. It's either been redesigned or the replay site got the map wrong. Correct me, please. I'm open to any suggestion. Still not really a noob, getting better by the day at this, and Squirtle is now investing in his 3rd, by the way. And there is a Spire from EGIdRA in addition to a macro hatch and another hatchery that will be his 3rd. So I think he's really allowed Squirtle to keep on even bases with him, and that is not really beneficial. This Phoenix still only has 1 kill. I don't know if the Void Ray is still on the field. The Hydras are going to be run over, and are going to run over to face the Phoenix, and they will now be revealed. So the Roach is actually about to destroy these destructible rocks, so this could potentially deny Squirtle's 3rd. He's going to bring his whole force over, though, and that's quite intelligent. He should even grab an Immortal or 2, because these Roaches are so many in number. So there are going to be 2 Colossi here. Do they have the extended thermal lance upgrade? Yes, they do, so that will be pretty crucial. And Squirtle is trying to split his opponent's force, and he's doing quite a magnificent job. The Roach is unable to deal too much damage. All of them forced to run in. The Hydras are behind the force fields, but the Colossi are just baking so many units here. 6 kills, 7 kills, 4 kills, 8 kills. So that's a total of 12. That's game-changing numbers. Now 13, 14 between them. 17 between them. So crazy amount of kills from these Colossi. That is a total of 21 kills between these two Colossi, just completely roasting the opposing units. And personally, as I said, I thought Squirtle should have gotten that Immortal to do with the Roaches, but some very nice placed force fields really fended off against the potential of Roaches causing many trouble, and the Hydras were really the bulk of EGIdRA's reinforcements, and that's why he lost the game. And also because he was unable to establish his third faster than he did, because he only opted for the third at about I'd say 12, 11 minutes. I do not remember off the top of my head. And this Void Raider was allowed to run free way too long with 8 kills. And so that is the game, and that is the set. Let me know what you think of it. If I have anything to improve on my casting, I'm open to suggestion. This is Aus77 signing out. I will probably be bringing you guys a Huck versus Heart series, I believe, or something of the sort. That would be a TVP. Anyways, I will see you then, and possibly change my mind. Goodbye.